To The Hague to the trial of Deputy President William Ruto, which resumed earlier this morning but almost immediately went into a private session. It was the second day for witness 536 to testify in the case. The prosecution, however, raised serious concerns that the security of its witnesses may be at risk. The trial session has been adjourned to this afternoon. Meanwhile, the court is considering conducting the entire trial session in private, and they say that's to conceal and protect the identities of witnesses. The prosecution and defense team at the ICC were equally expected to file their submissions on Kenya's push to pull from the Rome Statute and its impact on witness protection. Now, the prosecution claims the withdrawal push has impacted negatively on the willingness of witnesses to testify in the case. Trouble is brewing in Embobut area in Marakwet East following the short listing of only 2,000 families who are to benefit from compensation given to forest evictees. Other families claim they have wrongfully been left out of the list and are calling for a review of its compensation process. Well, here's Sharon Momanyi with the details.
Hundreds of families turned up at Embobut and Kapiego to claim their names are missing from the list of those to be compensated with 400,000 Kenya shillings following forest evictions. This has prompted local leadership and the Ministry of Special Programs to set up a 10-man task force to review the list. Environment, Water and Natural Resources Permanent Secretary Richard Lesiampe says 16,000 acres out of the 24,000-acre Marakwet Water Tower has been cleared by loggers and forest encroachers, thus jeopardizing the welfare of the expansive Kerio Valley forest land and of the lives of communities living there.
Na wakati hiyo ikiwa 24,000 imesaidia kuokoa Aror, imeokoa chini huko Kerio, imeokoa mpaka Turkana Samburu, imeokoa mpaka Egypt, imeokoa mpaka Lake Victoria.
Only 8,000 acres remain as forest land, with aerial shots showing thousands of acres cleared. Lesiampe says that after the government's resettlement allocation of 1.19 billion shillings, no person will be allowed to move back into the forests. Marakwet East MP has asked the government to issue title deeds in Marakwet East and West constituencies, saying no single title deed has been issued in the entire Marakwet region.
Na kesho kama tumeenda kwa Lesiambe na serikali watubee hiyo title deed, ndio tuweze hata kuenda kuomba loan na tukue kama Wakenya wengine.
On the other hand, Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen has ordered for the review of the said resettlement list. He asked the government to also consider the cases of families who lost their identity cards when Kenya Forest Service torched their houses in forceful evictions while making the list. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Now, there's still a lot of contention regarding the VAT Bill 2013, but now the government has received what appears to be crucial backing on this very contentious bill from Kenya's accountants. The Institute of Certified Public Accountants has backed the bill, saying that the 16% flat rate will actually make it easier for businessmen to comply with the law in paying their taxes. Chairman Benson Okundi has also asked the public to look at the bigger picture, saying that while they feel the pinch of higher prices, the increased revenue for government will enable better service delivery on the long term. Now, ICPAC has, however, challenged KRA to crack down on unscrupulous businessmen who have taken advantage of the new law to exploit consumers.
A number of items that were either initially exempt or zero rated were quite many, and therefore consumed each and every person's time in trying to verify for any application for those exempt and zero rated items. But the current VAT Act reduces them to bare minimum, which makes it administratively easier to be able to comply with the law, and also will deal with the issue of the VAT refund. So I would recommend strongly that as much as the political side of it is being looked at, and that is the popular angle with the normal citizens, we should look at that, but we should consider the bigger picture of this act. We applaud the architects of this act for making it shorter, well constructed, and much easier to administer and comply with. Indeed, the architects of the Act do need to be complimented for this. It brings our law into the 21st century by addressing the needs of current business practices. We also understand the pain, the burden, and the anguish experienced by Kenyans as a result of traders increasing prices on zero-rated consumer commodities under the guise of 16% VAT. We at ISPAC are appalled by this development and would like to urge all stakeholders to apply VAT Act 2013 honestly and within the realm of good business practices. VAT Act should not be used as a conduit for enriching fraudulent traders and businessmen and women. The KRA must take up the challenge by the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury to deal with the unscrupulous traders ought to enrich themselves at the expense of the consumers.
Well, ICPAC is saying it's a little pinch now, but it's going to be beneficial to you in the long run. What do you think? We'd love to hear from you. Just send me a tweet on @KTN Newsdesk or @Edith_Kimani, and I'll share your views at the end of this broadcast. Elsewhere, Nairobi Senator Mike Sonko Mbuvi has condemned the shoot-to-kill order issued by Police Inspector General, that's David Kimani. He was speaking in Babadogo, where he handed over a minibus to former gang members. Sonko said he understood the reasons that drive youth into crime. He then urged the youth to resist the temptation to resort to criminal activities, asking leaders to launch initiatives that would enable the unemployed youth to earn honest livings. The senator handed over the bus to former members of the outlawed Kamjesh gang. The project is aimed at helping youth become self-reliant. The bus will operate under the Babadogo SACCO.
Mimi najua kuna kitu ambacho huwa kitatufanya sisi kudanganywa na shetani kwenda kuiba. Sababu ya ukosefu ya kazi, sababu ya umaskini, sababu tuko na mabibi na wazazi na hatuna chakula ya kuwapea. Sasa munisikiza kwa makini. Mimi niko na suluhisho ya uwizi. Niko na suluhisho ya uhalifu. Ile mfano tumeianza leo. Na mimi ningependa kuambia polisi na serikali ambaye mimi niko ndani ya serikali, kumaliza vijana kwa kuwaua si suluhisho ya kumaliza uhalifu Kenya.
Well, it was anything but song and dance in Kisii, where a woman was suspected of abducting and then selling babies and has since been arrested in that town. It is claimed that Jane Kerubo was caught as she attempted to steal a baby from a woman at a hospital in Kisii town. Now, authorities said it wasn't the first time that Kerubo was being accused of this crime. Apparently, last year, she faced the same accusations, although she denied the claims. In yesterday's case, however, she allegedly offered to help a woman who had come to deliver a baby, even going as far as offering to buy the expectant mother cotton wool in preparation for the delivery, and then paying a 500 shilling hospital charge. The things, however, allegedly changed for the worse.
Alichukuliwanga Nyamira, akachulikana na watoto wenyewe. Hata chifu ya kwao au wote wanaelewa huyu mama anaipanga watoto. Huyu mama ni notorious, anaipanga watoto sana, anachukuanga watoto wenyewe.
Back to Nairobi City County, which has inherited over 1,000 legal disputes from the previous government. A team of experts from various fields have been appointed to determine, recommend, and then report to the governor the reasons for the unusual number of cases against the City Council in less than 120 days.
As soon as Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero was sworn into office after the March 4th elections, he inherited over 1,000 court cases facing the City Council, attracting up to 1.5 billion shillings in legal fees. With such huge amounts of pending debts already imposed, there are fears that operation would be paralyzed. The City Council officers were on strike for close to 2 weeks due to arrears, and some of them may also be laid off as the county cannot sustain the 700 million shillings it pays them in wages. To understand why the City Council would face such high numbers of legal disputes, the governor appointed a task force to audit and examine the country's delivery of legal services.
These are long-standing cases. Some are fresh, but some go back to 6, 7, 8 years and have never been concluded. And we just want to get to the bottom so that we start on a clean slate.
The team of professionals was selected from the Office of the Attorney General, the Law Society of Kenya, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Institution of Certified Public Accountants, among others. The members of the task force shall be paid sitting allowances approved by the Treasury in consultation with the governor and are to deliver their findings not later than 4 months from now. The secretarial support to the task force shall be provided by the Office of the Interim County Secretary.
Rift Valley may no longer be the country's breadbasket in the next 37 years. A report dubbed Climate Change to Shift Kenya's Breadbaskets warns of a possible geographic shift in maize production, especially in the country, that would see the production of maize reduced drastically till it would be no longer practical to farm the crop. It also warns that agricultural production at the coast could drop by 25%. The report urges communities to embrace new age agricultural methods and technology, as well as embracing the farming of crops other than maize.
We need to be prepared for what the conditions will be. If there are going to be bad conditions, we need to prepare for those bad conditions. If there are going to be good conditions and they result in opportunities, we need to prepare for those opportunities. So it's about preparedness, and that's why we have this National Adaptation Planning meeting.
Well, I really do hope it gives you a better appreciation for these things called the newspapers. Remember to catch up with Betty Kello every Tuesday on 9 p.m. on how things work. To business matters now, and having successfully implemented the new VAT regime that is expected to generate an additional 10 billion shillings, that's annually for the exchequer, the government is now training its eyes on income and excise tax. Treasury wants to amend the Income Tax Act so as to impose withholding tax on winnings from gaming and betting, as well as adjust the capital gains tax under the income tax to formulate modalities for its effective enforcement. Now, this is all being done as the government looks for ways of raising the 1.6 trillion shillings in the 2013-2014 financial year. However, on closer examination, the adjustments on taxation continue to heap pressure on the same Kenyans the government wants to cushion.
I want to tell Kenyans that we are now embarking on reforming other taxes to ensure that they are in line with our Vision 2030 objectives. We are now prioritizing excise tax and income tax, and I want to assure Kenyans that we are doing this in accordance with our constitution.